Coach, obviously everyone's just waiting to find out who would clear, who wouldn't. Just talk about Jacob first and how important it is that he handles this episode properly.
Yeah, well, we talked about that the last few days. I mean, if you take it the right way, you have a little bit of, he should be, a little bit upset for sure when he goes down, but he has to take it as, okay, there's certain things that I have to get better at and I have to improve upon if I'm going to be considered a full-time NHL player. And now is the opportunity to go down there and do that. His attitude, I don't really worry about that at all with him because he's got a great personality, and I don't think you really see much change, good or bad, from him in regards to how he handles himself. So I think he's going to go down, and I think he's going to put in the work to get himself back here. This is the way I would like to think he's going to approach it.
You don't feel the
If you
need.
do get assigned to the AHL, how important it be for them that the AHL team is here in Calgary as opposed to somewhere in California and so far away?
I don't think for that side of it, Willsy, it matters at all. I mean, he's got to go and play no matter where he is. I mean, whether it's here or if it was in California, that doesn't really matter.
Is Sam Honzek the best story of camp in your eyes?
He'd have to be one of them for sure. Probably because it seemed like everybody had him written off before we even started. And he came in and he did a lot of great things for us. And the one thing that was important was the size and speed that he played the game with, where he was assertive. Even as a young man, he didn't look at all out of place when he played against the better competition. He was still driving. He was still trying to get hard on pucks. And you could see his coaching staff that he was responsible with what he was trying to do on the ice. So I'm really happy for him. He did a lot of great things, and he's deserving of starting with our team to start the season.
What made him the right choice to kind of put in for Sherry
And that's something that could change every day, but when you look at trying to put your lines together, Cads and Kuzi have great chemistry together. We know that. The other part of that line last year that was really good was when Marty was on that line. Marty has straight line speed, very similar to what Hansi has. So they have sort of the same characteristics, so it kind of made sense for us to try him there, and now we'll see how we go tomorrow and how we go the next day. But I think just the way those two players were similar in a way with the size and speed that they play with, we thought it might work well with Cads and Kuzi.
Do you have a sense of
shed any more light on Sharangovich? Is this a see in a couple weeks, see in 3 months, anything like that?
No, it's just a week-to-week thing right now for us. So I can't give you anything more than that regards to timeline, because that's all our trainers tell me is week to week.
Such a probably silly question, but can you speak to the significance of, this is a guy who plays every situation for you, starting the season without him?
Yeah, it's tough not to have him for sure. I mean, I think he's a guy that makes our power play better. He's a penalty killer for us, and he plays a lot of minutes 5-on-5 now. I mean, we all know what he can bring to the table. It took us a while to figure out who he was last year, but I think we're all pretty comfortable in knowing exactly who he is now. And yeah, for the games that we're going to miss him, that's a big loss for us. But again, it's opportunity for someone else now, which is something that I've seen over the course of this camp. A lot of players raise their level, so I'm expecting the same for our guys to start the season.
How do you figure you'll use your split, Vladar and Wolf?
I think we have a pretty good handle on who's going to start the opening night, and then we will go from there.
Can you say who will start the opening night?
No, not right now.
Going back to Sam, what's the message that you and the coaching staff are providing him just to make sure that he doesn't do too much and excels the way he has over camp?
And I think you hit it. It's just keep doing what you've been doing. There's no need to change anything in your game right now. That's really going to be a lot of the conversation that will be had with him over the next little while. So it's him kind of enjoying the moment to start with, and making sure he's staying with playing a very simple, direct, straight line game, because that's what we need out of him.
Can his story be a great motivator to other young guys?
Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just goes to show you that if you believe in yourself and you come in and you work hard, you're going to give yourself an opportunity. And that's something we've tried to get across to our players, younger or older. If you do things the right way, you're going to get an opportunity. So that's what he's done now. Now it's up to him to make sure he doesn't let go of that opportunity and keep being at his best every time he comes to the rink.
Do you
You talked about how those conversations with players who are being sent down are hard, or just like on a human level. It's got to be nice to be able to kind of tell a guy that his dream's coming true.
Yeah, and I feel for Connie sometimes. Like, I have feedback for him, hockey related. Connie's often the guy that has to give some of the bad news, so you feel for Connie in those situations. Today was a nicer day where he was able to tell a couple of guys that they've made our opening night roster, if you will.
If we'd asked you 3 weeks ago what the plan was with Sam Honzek, like what did it look like before he came in and did what he did?
Yeah, we were going to give him every opportunity to play games to start with. We didn't have a set number of games in mind for him, but we really were anticipating was a real hard push for him once he got to the Wranglers, to be quite honest with you. We knew, like I said, he was going to get opportunities in games to prove his worth, but we wanted to get him in every situation we possibly could with the Wranglers, but he's forced our hand a little bit, and that's what I love about him. Like, he still has the same kind of demeanor this morning as he had the first day of camp, so it's pretty cool to see.
Just going back to
There's been a lot said about the center depth in this organization. How much does it sting to lose one of your guys on waivers?
Yeah, that's a tough one. It is for sure. I mean, the unfortunate thing is you can't keep everybody as much as you would like to. Sometimes when they get to a certain age, this is what happens. So I wish him the very best. It hurts for us for sure because he's a right-handed centerman, and that's something that we don't have really when you look at our depth. So it's a tough loss for us for sure for when you look at the depth of our team. But at the same time, I'm hopeful that he gets a great opportunity. He goes on to some good things.
And with Sam being 19 and everyday grind of the NHL and playing against men for the first time, you have to manage his minutes because we saw him in the PK in the preseason, saw him practicing in the PP today, playing on the top line. Do you have to worry about that or no?
I think in time you will. You'll see that they'll wear out a little bit, but I don't think early in the season that's an issue at all. I mean, he's going to have a lot of energy when and if he gets into games, and I know he'll be excited to play, so I don't think early on in the season that will be an issue at all. But I think it does become something you have to be careful of as the season moves along for sure.
what's early on this season, like talking about the goaltending, like what goes into managing a workload or kind of those, like how you approach splitting starts with stuff like that?
I don't want to say it's easier, but the managing goaltenders is more difficult when it comes to someone that you expect to be a 60-game guy, because you have to give him time off practice-wise. You have to make sure that he's rested and he gets what he needs. When you have two guys that are going to continue to compete for starts, I don't think it's that difficult to manage, because that rest time or that time off is kind of automatically built into it until someone separates themselves. So ultimately that's what we'd like to see happen, but we have a lot of confidence in both these guys, and I expect to see that competition continue to move forward.
Understanding you don't want to tip your hand, like what's the timeline in terms of will you tell does the goalie know already he's starting? Will you tell him tomorrow? How's that?
Yeah, I'm always the day before the guy, or
Okay.
day before a guy. So don't try to sneak in there tomorrow and ask him or anything like that. But no, I like to tell them the day before so they can go through their routines and prepare properly. I think that's for a goaltender, I think they would rather know that instead of just showing up at the rink the next day and finding out he's starting.
When the team signed Tyson Barrie and Jake Bean, I think a lot of people thought they might get a look on the first power play or second power play. I noticed today it's Uyghur and Anderson. Can you explain what you're thinking in terms of power play quarterbacks?
Sure.
Short term and going forward.
Sure. Well, short term, our power play unit to end the year last year was really good. We were very happy with the way it went, and Mackenzie Uyghur was helping to drive that first unit. So I felt it was important that he continues to get that opportunity. So I look at it really that way. Now, I know that we have a guy that's a power play guy. So if things don't go the right way, we have a lot of options that we can turn to. So I just feel like it's more for our coaching staff to be able to utilize, but I do think the right thing to do is to give Mackenzie every opportunity in the world to continue doing what he did last year with our power play unit.